So now we're talking about freedom. So before we get to the Avadim Ha'inu, as we said, we of course ask the Manish Tana. We have the Manish Tana as the four questions. Matzah, maror, dipping twice, and the fourth one is leaning, reclining. We can see there's a difference between the first three and the fourth. Matzah, maror, and dipping. These are all things that we do to remember that we are now free, that we were once enslaved, and now we are free. Therefore, we eat the matzah. As we said already, we eat the maror, and we're going to dip twice. However, when we lean, it has a different connotation. Leaning or reclining is in and of itself an act of freedom. It's not that we're like free men, therefore we're going to dip twice. It's because we are free right now. As we sit at our table, we are involved in a demonstrable act that we are free, therefore we are going to lean. Really what we see is the fourth question. Why is this the fourth? Because this question is really a premise to the answer which Rabbi Maskim was just speaking about. The answer of Avadim Hayinu, the answer to explain why we're doing all these things, can only be offered, it can only be internalized if we are truly free. If we weren't free, then we can't answer the question. Therefore, by demonstrating to ourselves, to the table, by actually involving ourselves in an act of freedom itself, by leaning, by reclining, therefore we're showing, we're feeling really right now, in the here and now, that we're free. And there's another, we can take the idea of reclining and leaning another stage as well. The Pasuk tells us, just as the Jewish people, the Bnei Yisrael, were getting ready to leave, they were ready to leave Mitzrayim. Can you imagine? They've been there for so many years, so many struggles, so many hardships, and they know, they can taste the freedom. You can imagine the bags are packed. You know what it's like when we're going on vacation, and the bags are packed, you're waiting at the door, you're waiting for the Uber to take to the airport. You have that anticipation. Right? If you can imagine the anticipation that they had to leave their home. And then Moshe tells them, he says, Vayikra Moshe lekol ziknei Yisrael, and Moshe summoned all the Ziknei Yisrael, the elders of Israel. He said to them, V'yomer aleim, Mishchu, go and pick out lambs for your family, slaughter the Passover offering. The Korban Pesach. What does Rashi tell us about these psukim? So Rashi says, what do we learn from this word mishchu, that you have to draw out a lamb? What does it mean? So it means that he who has sheep, if he has a flock, he should take from his flock a lamb. Then what does Rashi tell us? The next word, which means and take, meaning someone who doesn't own a flock, so he can't take a lamb from his flock. What should he do? So he should take something else which he owns. And Rashi says he goes to the market, based on the Mechilta, he says, go to the market and buy a lamb. What's Rashi telling us? Why is this so important? You either take it from your own flock, or you have to go and buy one with your own money. So we can see the answer is, it wasn't enough. You couldn't go and borrow one. You couldn't go to your friend who has a flock and say, oh, can you just lend me, give me one of your flock and I'll shech them as my Korban Pesach. It wasn't enough. I couldn't just go to a friend like we do with other mitzvot and say, can you yotzi me? Can you have me in mind when you do the Korban Pesach so that I can also fulfill my mitzvah? No. Moshe was saying each and every household had to have one themselves. You can't acquire freedom by proxy. You can't appoint an agent to acquire your own freedom on your behalf. Either you have it or you don't. It's something that you have to earn. It's something that you have to do yourself. You have to be involved in the Korban Pesach personally. And we can see it again from another pasuk. The next pasuk says, regarding taking of the blood and putting it on your doorpost, the pasuk says, V'gatem el hamashkof, that you have to put the blood onto the doorposts. Now the word V'gatem is already a strange word. People who have been keeping up with the reading of the parashas recently. When the Torah talks about a korban, when the Torah talks about an offering, a sacrifice, and it talks about what we do with the blood, we talk about sprinkling the blood. What's the word that we use? The word we use is v'zarko, to sprinkle the blood. But here it doesn't say v'zarko, it says v'higatem. You have to strike it onto the door, or put it onto the door. What's the difference? Why, during the other offerings, the other korbanot, do we sprinkle? But by this one, it's a different word altogether. You have to take the blood and you have to put it. You have to strike it on. What's the difference? When you sprinkle something, it has a connotation of distance. You sprinkle, kind of throw it away from you. You're not up close and personal. You're kind of sprinkling it out. Kind of can go wherever it takes you. When you're putting something, definitely you're going over to your mashkof, by going over to the door frame, and you, with your energy, with your koach, you're putting the blood on yourself. You're invested. You yourself, with your whole body, you are involved in the mitzvah. You're involved in acquiring your freedom. So we can see it's the same thing by kulanu masubin. We have to lean. Why? Leaning, because it's free people lean. When you lean, your whole body is affected. You're doing something with your whole body. When you go to Leil Seder, when we sit around the Seder, something which we've all done so many years, and we read the same things, and we drink the wine, and we eat the food, it's not enough. Many, many people do. We go along, we sit, we join in, we read when we're told to read, we drink when we're told to drink, we eat when we're told to eat. Yeah, and you can go by, you can join in the Seder as a bystander very, very easily. But not if you lean. If you actually lean when you drink your wine, you're involved. You're doing something yourself. You're not just relying on the person who's running the Seder. Do this, do that, turn to this page, turn to that page. What you're doing is you yourself are invested. And that's the key. That's the key to understanding the idea of B'chol Dor Vador. In every generation, we have to feel like we're free. It's the same idea. When you're leaning, when you're putting your whole body into it, then we can really get something out of the Seder. And hopefully, with that idea, if we really throw ourselves with our whole body and all our koach into the Seder, then we'll really get something out of it this year, where in other years we may have just gone as a bystander by.